Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. For our listeners, we have a special guest. So you probably want to go watch it actually. So the people that are viewing this, as you can see on the screen, special guest tonight, we have none other than the Buffalo Bills punter, Michigan Wolverine. Brad Robbins is in the building. How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I cannot complain. Before we get into it, got to take care of some house rules. You guys know that we need you to subscribe, like, share, tell any and everybody about the podcast. We're trying to be here for a good time and a long time. So we're gonna get into it now. As I stated at the beginning, Michigan Wolverine, Buffalo Bills punter. For you, was it always the goal? Get to the NFL, be a professional punter.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say like from high school, I was a four sport guy, so I played basketball, football, baseball, and soccer. Um, my main goal is to play in the MLB, be a professional baseball player. And once I decided or figured out rather that I could like punt a football relatively far for my age and like higher than most people. Um, uh, I had a guy who his name was Jordan Berry. He was at a camp, told me I could do it professionally and get college paid for as well. And at that point, I started to take it a little bit more serious. Um, and as soon as someone told me like, "Hey, you might have a shot to play in the NFL," then it was like, "All right, this became the goal."
So that's the great thing of hearing because a lot of people don't realize punters, kickers, people that play on special teams are some of the most athletic people in the world. You said you played four sports.
Hmm.
Do you feel any of the other sports that you played actually helped you on the football field?
100%. There's a lot of like, especially nowadays, I don't necessarily agree with it. Like kids specializing really early. Uh, like, I'll go to like my dad will coach like a U10 team or whatever. And it's like, kids will try out. It's like, yeah, what's your son play? And it's like, yeah, he plays first base. It's like he doesn't play anything else. Like he's 10, man. Like you can't specialize that early on. So yeah, no, definitely like as far as hand-eye coordination, explosiveness, uh, playing all those sports year round, it definitely helped.
What about outside of people saying that hey, you actually are good at this. You can get college paid for, you can play at the highest level. What about football though? Like, was your love that drew you to football to say, you know what, they're saying this, and I'm gonna actually go with it because I like and I love this football thing.
Yeah, so just the sport in general. uh, I mean, as soon as I was told that, and it's like, yeah, you have the potential to play. That's really when I started getting into it. And that was like sophomore, junior year of high school. Like, obviously, I know football. I grew up watching football. I grew up in Columbus, and like Ohio State football was big there. So it's like I grew up watching. Um, but it wasn't really until I got into the college level where I like fell in love with like just like the chess game that it is, essentially. Like the strategy that goes behind it and all the work that goes into it. I don't think I quite understood when I was young. And just like the older I get, the more I'm appreciative of all the coaches spending so much time and just they have a love for the game and developing strategy. Uh, and actually understanding like how powerful the punter position is and flipping field position. That was something where it was like, okay, I can really make an impact. If our team's backed up, we're up by three and my heels are on like the five, it's like I have an opportunity to really flip the field. Because if you don't, like anymore, if you hit like a 40-yard punt there, like there are the other guys already in field goal range because the kickers are getting so good too. So it's just an opportunity to impact the game, man. It's awesome.
That's I'm glad you brought that up too because a lot of people don't sometimes see and understand the value of the punter, of the kicker. Like you just said, the kickers back then too, but even more so now, they in field goal range kind of once it past the 50 some of these kickers where it's like, oh, that punt actually did us a disadvantage. You have some teams where they're like, all right, we just gonna go for the fourth down, try to get it closer because it's actually better. The punter actually has value on the team. The kicker has value on the team. The long snapper has value on the team. Every single member on that field is valuable to what is needed to be done for the success for that team. In the punter position, what is the type of training that you go through in the off season and during the season to get better and hone your craft?
Yeah, as far as just like off the field stuff, like lifting, I tend to train like a sprinter. So a lot of explosive movements, a lot of sprinting, a lot of they call it like triple extension. So it's like ankles, knees, hips, all that stuff to kind of just like get your power through the ball. Do a lot of jumping. And I'm a 6 foot dude. I can dunk a basketball. Like like so the explosiveness that is needed, and I'm sure like most NFL punters could, no matter their height. So like the explosiveness that you need to train off the field is equally as important as the training that goes on the field. Um, and people like look at it and they're like, yeah, punting's like an easy job, and like you just hit the ball as far as you can, and it's monotonous, and like you're doing the same thing over and over again. But that's I don't think people quite understand how hard it is. One and two, like yeah, it gets when you get to be a professional, like it can get repetitive, like in your training, but that's where you got to be creative, where you have the opportunity to be creative in your training to make it a little bit less monotonous and put yourself in these game like situations consistently. So with my training, like I actually use Chat GPT and like essentially wrote a script on like I compared it to professional golf and was like, hey, how does a professional golfer train? Like, what do they work on, like week to week when they're on the course, like or on the driving range or whatever? It's like, all right, they got a short game day. They got like a driver day. They got like a day where they actually simulate competition. So I've really been following that, and it's through the off season, and it's skyrocketed my performance. And yeah, just got unlucky. I mean, got hurt. I was averaging like 55 through camp, like over 200 charted punts, all game like scenario. And just got unlucky with an injury. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool all the opportunities that you get to do to train.
So you said a lot in there that I want to touch on different aspects of it. I'm gonna have to find out after this. You have to send me the workout regimen because I'm 5'10". I used to be able to dunk. I want to get back to dunking. So you're gonna
Hmm.
have to send that to me because 6 feet and dunking, that's where I want to be at for sure.
Hmm.
The other part that you mentioned in there, right? So a lot of people just think, hey, just kick it as hard as you can. Just kick it as far and hard as you can, but it's a whole lot more into that with the accuracy and we're getting it in. All right, we're just not kicking it out of bounds. I need it at the 5 yard line. Could you speak to the difficulty of pinning it 5 yard line, the 4, the 10? How do you actually obviously you probably with your training, but how do you get it to be so accurate and pinpoint when you're doing that and having that touch versus just all
Yeah,
right, I'm kicking it as
yeah,
far as possible.
that makes sense. It's like the same as like, I mean, a golfer hitting like 100-yard shot, 50-yard shot, like having that touch and having that feel. It comes with reps and experience. Um, and again, the whole other part that you're also touching on is like there's another side to it that like the field position side. Like my heels are on the 30. It's a 55-yard punt to the goal line from line of scrimmage. Uh, I can get away with a 50-yard punt, but if I hit touchback there, our team net's 35. That's bad. That's bad field position. Like as a punter, you have to know every like 5 yards on the field. So if the ball's down at like the 1, down at the 5, down at the 10, down at the 15, down at the 20, like that's like I forget the exact percentages, but if the ball's down on the 1, there's like a 99% chance that your defense will stop them and they will not score. If it's on the 5, it's like a 93% chance. If it's on the 10, it's like an 80%. So like if you hit a touchback instead of the ball at the 5, that's like a 20% chance increase that they will actually score. Right. So understanding also where on the field, like, okay, if my heels are on the 20, and I hit a touchback. It's like, it's like a 65-yard punt to the end zone. That's pretty good. I mean, that flips field position good enough. Obviously, you want it to go out like the one or the two, but like, I mean, shoot, you're netting 45, right? Um, so that's a win. So there's a lot of ins and outs of like, so fans, if I would hit a touchback from like the 20, it would be like, dude, this guy's hitting touchbacks. Like, what's he doing? That's like that's actually pretty good. Like, it's not bad. Like, we'll take that. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot to it.
Yeah, it's definitely more, and I'm glad you're breaking that down for our listeners and our followers. It's a lot that goes into that, and understanding that. You mentioned within the last question that you had an injury. You end up having the quad injury. How was that for you mentally to have to go through that injury after you get drafted, things are going well, and then you have, like you said, out of your control, you have an injury that has you sidelined?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, one of the most, again, I'm sure we'll touch on it, but like the meta performance coaching, right? So I hired a guy after my rookie year because I was just so like I was pretty beat down. Like, it was a long season. I didn't perform the way I wanted to. I left a lot on the table, and I felt like all I want is to like help the team win. That's all I want. I want to perform well, help the team win, and like win a Super Bowl. Those were like the goals. I want to be at the top of the league in my position. In order to do that, I figured like, all right, so I'm going to really invest money into a coach for myself. Um, After I invested money, like I had, my coach all the way through the off season, leading up into the season. So I had a guy in my corner this entire time, leading up to the season. I was like, this is going to be the best season ever. Boom, you get injured, you know? So my mind shifted from like, if I wouldn't have had that coach or wouldn't have had someone in my corner, like I would have kind of felt like, all right, what's my purpose? How, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But because I've been training just like the mental side of the game and just like my essentially who I'm committed to being outside of football and inside of football, it's like as soon as I got injured, my approach wasn't like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do. It was like, all right, let's attack this rehab as hard as I can. Like let's get healthy as fast as I can, and let's get back an opportunity. Ideally, like it would have been with the Cincinnati, right? But obviously, guy does well there. They end up letting me go while I was injured, and on to the next one. All right, let's take advantage of this next opportunity. You know, um, so yeah, that's kind of just hiring that coach really made a difference in my life and the goals I was chasing. And I felt like that made a huge difference in my mentality. But yeah, it's injuries no joke.
I could imagine so. Like you said, being drafted, you're looking to come back to have the year that you know you could have, and then the injury happens. Was it kind of in a sense like a blessing in disguise though? Because from that, you have a coach, it helps you get through it, the meta performance, and now you're in the meta performance. Was that really kind of the motivating factor? Was like, you know what? This coach helped me out so much. I want to do this for other athletes.
Yes, 100%. Um, yeah, that was definitely 100% a factor. And it's perfect because the program, man, is like the entire off season, and it's remote, and you get to work with like clients. I want to work with athletes, right? So no, it's perfect. And it really was a blessing in disguise. And I tried my best, even when I got injured, to just think, all right, like something's going to happen, and it's going to be positive. Um, and I don't know if you knew in college, I had a back surgery after my freshman year. And then the guy who ended up taking my spot became All American. And then after that, I ended up getting my spot back, right? So, rookie year, I play my rookie year. After my rookie year, I get hurt. The guy is like all pro rookie. And now it's like, okay, well, now I know, well, I've already done this before in college. Like, I'm on the back end of this. I know how this story ends. So I was sure to tell, the guys who had my back in the Bengals organization are like, hey man, like sorry this happened. I'm like, don't worry, man. Like I've already seen the end of the story, and it's far from over.
That's a great mentality to have when it comes to that, because we see it all the time. Sports, it's a business at the end of the day. You're having fun, you're enjoying yourself. But things like that happen, and some people then become bitter. Some people
Mhm.
then is like, you know what? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know what? Actually, forget the sport that I'm doing. To have that mentality, I'm gonna attack this rehab, and you know what? Hey, I seen how this story. I mean, I've already done this before. We're good. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep pushing. And you have your next opportunity. You're with the Bills, so obviously the mentality and the mindset worked for you with the meta performance. How has also your faith impacted your career and life off the field?
Yeah, I'd say I definitely I mean, like in college, growing up, okay, I'll start out. Growing up, I was in a religious family, very faith oriented guy. Went to a Christian high school. Uh, Ended up going to college, and I wouldn't say like I strayed away from like faith or religion at all. But like I definitely wasn't going to church. Like I was playing games on Saturday and going out Saturday nights. like that's how college goes. That's how it goes. So I definitely got more in tune with that on my first year in the league. Our kicker, Evan McPherson, he's a super religious guy, and he took me underneath his wing, and like kind of seeing him as like a role model per se is like, all right, this is what he does. He's already married. He's having a kid, and he's going to church Thursday nights. So I ended up going to church with him a couple times, and I found a place I really liked. Um, and then from there, it's just like I mean, there's so many little nuanced things that was like, you know, God, if this is really for me, like, I need to know. And then something will happen, boom, like, oh shoot, like this really is for, like, that was not a coincidence. Um, and it's just played a huge role and throughout my entire life, and it's really been like kind of echoing the story of like having faith, like when you get injured, and like I'm constantly the guy that's like the comeback kid. Like like every time, like I'm always the dude that like something happens and like I'm gonna come back strong. And faith plays a huge role in that. And understanding that my purpose is bigger than like punting a football, and I live to impact people around me. Um, that has like just lifted a weight off my shoulders. Like I don't need to carry the burden of a lot because of that.
That's huge. That part that you said right there, because God lets us know you don't have to carry this burden. Like,
Mhm.
give it to me. And like you said, it's like freeing. Oh, I don't have to do this all on my own. I don't have to figure everything out. I don't have to know, oh, I got injured. What am I supposed to do? He has a plan and it's already set out for us. Like we just have to follow his plan and follow the steps. And like you said, when things happen, realizing and having the awareness that, hey, this wasn't coincidental. This is all right. That's you, God. Okay, cool. And then you move accordingly within your position, right? Within your career. Not that many jobs for punters, not that many jobs for kickers. And we see it all the time, especially last couple seasons with the kickers and even the punters. You have a couple bad games, teams are very quickly to pull the hook. We got to get somebody else in here. To your point, that happens because how important it is with field position and kickers, making sure we get points. We got to get some points on this possession. How do you define success being in your career?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, every like different situation you're in, you can execute a lot of different. I don't want to say like types of punts, but there's different outcomes, right? Um, and it's interesting because you want to stay process oriented and like stay in the present and not focus on the outcomes. But at the end of the day, you're judged by the outcomes. So really understanding like I don't make the like if I were to make the decision to play, like I had been playing, like you know what I mean, like I'd play for another 15 years, like that's my decision. But like just
Mhm.
understanding like that's the GMs, that's the coaches' decisions. Like if they want to do that, and I'm averaging like 55 yards or whatever, like I mean I'm just gonna someone else will like it, like it's fine. Like I know my worth, and I know how I measure success, and like um Yeah, no, I just say like depending on each situation, like there's certain outcomes you want, right? Like if you're backed up, you want to punt over 50 yards. If you're looking for punts inside the 10, like you obviously want to land the punt anywhere from like the 10 to you know, the one, or have a fair cut. So that's like tangible ways to measure your success. But yeah, just it's important to kind of know your worth and like back to the faith thing, like just knowing how confident I am in myself and my ability. It's like it's very easy to stay pretty objective rather than just saying like, I'm the best ever. Like it's pretty easy to stay objective.
Most definitely. And you already kind of alluded to this earlier within the episode about you obviously have the understanding that football is what you do and not who you are. So, who is Brad outside of football? Not on a football field, not punting, not training. Who is Brad outside of football?
Yeah, I'd say like the three things I'm committed to being is confident. I'd
Mhm.
say positively energetic. I'd say loving. Those are the three things I commit to being. And like the world is very much like this is what my coach taught me is like is very have do be versus be do have. So like have do be is like if I have these things and do this, then I'll end up being this person. Like if I have a long NFL career and end up breaking all the records, like I will be an energetic, confident guy that's the best dude ever. And it's like, dude, it does like wake up. It doesn't work that way, man. Like you got to commit to being this confident, energetic, loving person who works hard in order to do the things that you want to do, and then eventually you'll have what you want to have. Um, and that's who I'm committed to being on and off the field.
That's a great mentality right there. That might have to be the title of the episode. Have to be versus be like that. That might have to
Yeah,
be the
yeah.
title
Have to
because
be,
that
be do have. Yeah,
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 that's a I've never heard it broken down like that before. Like that's really good in regards to like you saying, if you are the energetic person, loving person, that comes first before the other stuff. And you could get it misconstrued and like, oh, I got all the records. That's why I'm this person. That's why I'm this. So that was really good. I've never heard it broken down like that before. I
yes.
like that.
It's like you're not gonna like get drafted and then have a long career and then break records and then you're gonna be the guy who like picks up the trash or like helps the lady at the grocery store or whatever she needs to do. Like if you do that stuff first, and then everything else comes.
Most definitely. Growing up, you mentioned Evan McPherson as somebody that took you under his wing, but growing up though, college, high school, who were some athletes that you looked up to growing up?
I think like Kobe was probably the most similar. Um, and like now I've just completely unsubscribed to like looking up to people. Like I'd say Kobe's the most similar, and like he would probably agree. And I never talked to the guy, but just based on his podcast and interviews and stuff, like he'd probably like agree to this unsubscription of like you don't want to be like anybody else. In my mind, as soon as you compare yourself to somebody, it's like you're placing these limitations on yourself. Like the
Mm,
goal for me is like I want to be the best NFL punter of all time, and like how can I be that way if I'm already placing the limitations on myself? If that makes
mm,
sense. Um, yeah, kind of like. Sorry, I was thinking of something else going with that. It's like there was a story of like I forget the exact guy's name, but he was really having a hard time breaking the 4 minute mile barrier, and training, finally did it, or finally like he couldn't do it. And then there was another guy who broke it before him. He ran like a 3:57 or something like that mile, and and then the original guy ended up breaking the 4 minute after that guy had broken. So it's like that dude had already placed these limitations on himself by saying it's impossible to get to that 4 minute. It's impossible
mm.
to get to that 4 minute. No one's ever done it. No one's ever done it. Boom, someone does it. He does it. It's like, well, like why are you placing these limitations? Like, so yeah, Kobe is the most similar in mindset, but right now I'm unsubscribing to the idea of being like anyone.
That's a great mentality and mindset to have right there. Just focus on being the best you, and the best you and achieving your goals. Like you said, if you looking to the left and to the right, they might not fit into what you have and what you envision for yourself. Oh, I look up to said player. That player is not considered the greatest punter of all time or putting in the work that you're putting in. So, like you said, it's that limitation. Instead of just focusing you in competition with Brad. Brad is trying to get better every single day. I'm going against Brad one on one, not looking to the left, not looking to the right, looking at anybody else. It's been some gems and wisdom dropped all throughout this. And if you, my listeners and our viewers, haven't caught it, I'm not sure. But this next question, maybe you'll catch it because I'm wording the question this way specifically. Any advice to anybody that's watching this that wants to, hey, I want to play collegiate pro football? Any advice that you would give? Now, I feel you gave a bunch of advice already, but anything additional that you want to add that you've already haven't?
Yeah, I just echoed off of earlier saying like really figure out who you want to be as a person and like commit to doing that. Um, it's really hard when you're in a team environment. Like if you're talking about just I want to play a collegiate team sport, it's very hard to fake genuinely caring for your teammates. And to be that guy and to be a good team, it comes with like genuinely caring for one another. Uh, and being that if your buddy's in trouble at night or whatever, getting in a fight, like you're pulling them out of there. You know what I mean? So I would just say like really commit to being someone who is super team oriented, team first, because any team can't have enough of those guys, and anymore it's few and far between. It's like the good teams I've been on, everybody's that
That's needed. Um, Whatever sports you're playing, basketball, team oriented sport. If you're a tennis star, you might not have to have this conversation, but football, basketball, baseball, the team first, having that mentality of like, let's try to be the best team possible. And part of us being the best team possible, I got to make sure I'm being the best version of myself and being there for my teammates in situations. Hey, look, if you get into this fight, we're not going to have you at the game. Let me pull you out. Let me talk to you. Let me help you cool off, whatever needs to be done. Those are the things that happens behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize actually affects winning,
way. Hmm.
actually helps out with team chemistry. So 1,000%. Fourth quarter segment. A couple little more fun questions that we have to end off the show. I am a foodie. I love to eat. So every guest I ask a food related question. Favorite restaurant for you to eat at?
Mm, that's a good question. I'm thinking about ooh, I'd say in Ann Arbor,
Okay.
there's a place called Frida Batidos. Like if I'm gonna get like something that's really like feel good kind of meal, Frida, it's a Cuban burger spot. So Frida being
Ooh.
like a burger, Batito being like a shake. So I would get like a chorizo, make it loco uh, burger. It comes with like egg, fries, thick cut bacon, jalapenos, like all this stuff on it, like some garlic aioli stuff, and then I get that. I get some plantains and guac, and then I get a coconut cream shake. So good.
Oh, yeah, I gotta put my wife knows. I have literally when I do these interviews, if it's not where I'm at in Jersey, even if it is in Jersey, but places, that I haven't been to, I have a note in my iPhone of literally states like, all right, Michigan, and I gotta write that one down because that
Yeah,
sounds absolutely delicious. We don't got nothing like that out here in Jersey. That sounds very good.
yeah. It's
Definitely,
solid.
I check
Go
that
to the
out.
big house. Go to the big house and get you some Frito Batitos after. It's so good. I'm telling
Definitely, gotta try that out. Top three NFL cities.
you. Buffalo, number one. Gotta be. Gotta be. Uh, yeah, definitely Buffalo number one. I'd say mm, I'm biased again. Like Detroit's pretty sweet. And underrated, like place to play. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed. To me, it's like between playing Kansas City and I really enjoyed Baltimore.
Mm,
Those two cities were pretty cool.
dope. I haven't been able to get out to Kansas City to catch a game, but I hear the best things. I just don't want to go when it's super, super, super cold. Cause
Yeah.
and you'll
Yep.
you'll see playing with Buffalo. I was getting the emails. Hey, we need people to come shovel out snow. I was like, no, can't do it. Shout out to the Buffalo Bills fans. Bills Mafia, y'all are something different. I couldn't I couldn't do it. Go shoveling out the stadium. Like the snow that gets there is crazy. If you could play pro in any other sport, especially being that you played for sports in high school, what sport would it be?
Um, I'd say now golf. Like those guys are living the life, like traveling. Like I don't know, playing golf as a professional sport would be pretty fun. It'd be stressful, but it's like the same thing as like punting, except like in golf you don't have like 6'6" dudes running at you like trying to block you.
Perfect, because I saw you had a post on your page. You were golfing. So I want to ask, who do you have? Who do you think wins the Masters?
I mean, I hope Rory does. He's been through the ringer a little bit. Uh, Obviously with the U.S. Open, I think it was last year, like missing a couple putts. Um, it's hard for me to feel too bad because like yeah, he comes in second and he wins like a couple $1,000,000 or whatever. But at the same time, like I just want him to win a major. I don't know what he's been going through, struggling with, dealing with. I know it's really uh, cutthroat and tight margins, especially all the way at the top. But I want him to win.
I'm hearing that from a lot of people that I talk to. Obviously, there's some that are more favorite, and you have John Hamm and you have Scheffler, who's won two of the last three. So obviously, people have him as the favorite. But everybody I've talked to, every show I've heard, people are rooting for Rory to get it done. And I was hearing Scott Van Pote was saying that he feels he gets it done. That this is he doesn't want. He said he didn't want to be cliche, but he felt like this was his time. Everybody has a time to get it done. He thinks it's his time, and like you said, he's been through. We don't know exactly what's going on, but he's been through some stuff, and still, for everything, whatever's going on, like you said, still getting second place. That's not bad. That's
That's
not
right.
really bad. That's really, really, really good. So shout out to Rory. Hopefully, Rory gets it done. Last one we have before we get you out of here. We appreciate you hopping on. Favorite NFL punters. Who are some of your favorite NFL punters?
Um, I mean, like one of the goats who's been in the league for like 14 years or 15 years is Thomas Morstead. He's with the Jets. Um, I grew up like when I started to learn how to punt. That was the film I would watch. Was him. And then like Johnny Hecker is also another one.
Mm,
There's a lot of younger guys that are like 3, 4 years in that are going to be solid, like to that level. Um, and those are like the goats right now that have been in the league the longest.
that's a solid list right there. For those that don't know those names, this is where we live in a great era. YouTube is free. So just type those names in and you'll see exactly why he mentioned those names. But y'all know the vibes here on the Bench Mob ENT podcast. If you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.